Have you ever caught yourself thinking, what really makes a guy totally hooked on me? Maybe you've tried being super accommodating or gone out of your way to show him how much you care, or maybe you've held back your true self just to keep things smooth. But it somehow feels like all these efforts don't quite hit the mark, and you end up wondering, am I missing something here? Here's the hard truth that nobody mentions. Captivating a guy isn't about changing who you are. It's not about playing hard to get or flooding him with constant attention. The truth is, the magic lies in subtle, almost counterintuitive actions that tap into his deeper attraction for you. Moves that stem not from manipulation, but from self-awareness and authenticity. So today, we're jumping into the 7 super simple but undeniably powerful ways to drive him absolutely nuts about you. These methods aren't about gimmicks or tricks. They're grounded in timeless principles of personal growth, emotional mastery, and a little thing I call Dark Stoic Psychology. Imagine this. Instead of stressing over what he's thinking or obsessing about what to text next, you become the woman he can't stop thinking about. The kind of woman who leaves a lasting impression, not because you're pulling something extravagant, but because of who you truly are. But here's the kicker. You've got to stick with me till the end to get the whole picture. The final piece will tie everything together in a way that might just flip your approach to relationships forever. Are you ready to step into your power, radiate confidence, and leave him wondering how he got so lucky to meet someone like you? Let's dive into the first strategy. Step 1. Create space for him to crave you. What if I told you you're at dinner with him and he's completely hooked on every word as he leans in, but then he throws a question your way, a bit too curious, asking, so what's your biggest dream? Here's where most slip up. You feel thrilled at his interest, and before you know it, you're sharing everything, laying all out there. And while vulnerability is gorgeous, spilling everything too soon strips away the thrill of him unfolding your story slowly. Mystery isn't about mind games, it's about the art of timing. The truth is, men love solving puzzles, and when you hold back a bit, you ignite their curiosity. It's the charm of the unknown that grips him. Let me ask you this, have you ever picked up a book and lost interest halfway because it revealed all too quickly? Relationships are the same deal. By keeping an air of mystery, you create a space where he invests in getting to know you bit by engaging bit. But how do you pull off this mystery without seeming distant? It's all about balance. When he asks about your dreams, share a meaningful snippet, but keep some details under wraps. Instead of saying, I've always wanted to open a bakery in Paris, try, I have a passion project in the works. Maybe I'll share more when it feels right. See what unfolds. That small change sparks his curiosity. He's not just hearing, he's envisioning the layers beneath. Here's a key insight. Men are irresistibly drawn to women who challenge them emotionally. When you drop hints of depth without the full reveal, you awaken his urge to earn your trust and discover your full story. And this isn't just a passing thought, it's rooted in psychology. The idea of reward uncertainty shows us that occasional rewards are more effective than constant availability. When the next moment is uncertain, he's hooked. And this isn't just about keeping his interest, it keeps you owning your narrative. By picking what to share and when, you create a relationship built on mutual respect and intrigue, not one where you're endlessly proving your worth. But here's the twist. Mystery goes beyond words. It's your actions, your vibe, how you carry yourself. It's that knowing smile when he asks about your past and you say that's a story for another day. It's in the confidence of letting a text linger because you're genuinely living life. And remember how all this ties into darker Stoic psychology. True Stoicism is about valuing what we control, our actions, emotions, narrative. Embracing mystery means taking charge of the energy you bring into the relationship. You're shaping the interaction, not just reacting to his interest. So let me leave you with this. Are you giving away too much too soon, or are you letting him genuinely wonder about you? Stay tuned because what's coming next will show you how to boost this effect with a confidence that makes him yearn for your presence. Step 2. The magnetic energy of self-assured women. Let's kick off with a question. When you step into a room, do you feel like you own it, or do you find yourself shrinking, hoping no one notices you? Confidence, or when it's missing, is something everyone picks up on, whether they're aware of it or not. And hey, when it comes down to making him absolutely crazy about you, there's nothing more captivating than a woman who exudes unshakable confidence. Now, let's bust a common myth. Confidence isn't about being loud or dominating every conversation. It doesn't mean you need all eyes on you or have to be the most outgoing person around. True confidence is subtle and calm, but way more powerful. It's about how you carry yourself, how you handle situations, and owning who you are without apologizing for it. Think back to a time when you admired someone's confidence. Was it because they were shouting their achievements from the rooftops? Probably not. It was likely the way they moved, how decisively they made choices, and how they seemed just totally comfortable being themselves. That's the vibe that attracts men. Men are naturally drawn to strength, not necessarily physical, but emotional and mental strength. When you show self-assurance, it signals to him that you're someone worth investing his time and emotions in. So how can you build this kind of irresistible confidence? First, ditch the need for validation. Stop waiting for him or anyone else to tell you you're amazing. Know it for yourself. It might take time, and that's okay. Confidence is like a muscle. The more you work it, the stronger it gets. Start by recognizing your own worth. What do you bring to the table? What makes you unique? Write it down if you need to, and check that list whenever self-doubt shows up. Next, embrace your imperfections. Confidence doesn't mean being perfect. It's quite the opposite. It's about owning your flaws, laughing at your quirks, and showing up anyway. Men love this because it makes you human, relatable, and real. Third, practice decisive energy. Ever watch someone waver over tiny decisions? It's exhausting. On the flip side, when a woman knows what she wants, even for small things like choosing a restaurant, it commands respect. Start by making choices confidently and sticking to them. But let's take this further. Confidence isn't just about how you feel inside. It's how you present yourself to the world. Focus on your posture. Are you standing tall or slouching? Make eye contact when you talk. Let your voice carry assurance even when you're a bit nervous. These small changes send a strong message that you're comfortable in your skin, and men notice. Here's where Dark Stoic Psychology steps in. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control and to let go of everything else. Confidence is about owning your internal story. Instead of obsessing over what you lack, focus your energy on what you can control. This mindset shift doesn't just change how you see yourself, it transforms how others see you. Picture this, you're meeting him for coffee. You walk in without fidgeting or nervously adjusting your hair. You give a warm smile, make eye contact, and greet him with calm energy. Do you know what that tells him? It says you're not just another woman craving his approval. You're someone who's already approved of herself. And here's a secret. Men long for a woman who doesn't need them but chooses them. That choice becomes so much more significant when it comes from someone who knows her own worth. So let me ask you, are you ready to let your confidence shine? Prepared to stop apologizing for taking space and start owning it instead? If this clicks with you, do me a favor, like this video and drop a comment with number 1 if you believe confidence is key. And don't forget to subscribe if you're ready to step into the most magnetic version of yourself. Trust me, what's up next will elevate your allure to another level. Stay tuned because the next step is all about giving him just enough space to crave your presence even more. You definitely don't want to miss it. Step 3. Stop chasing him and watch him chase you. Alright, so here's a little twist that might surprise you. What if I told you that the less time you're all about grabbing his attention, the more he'll start itching for yours? Sounds a bit backward, right? But let's break down this interesting little dynamic. A huge mistake many of us make is thinking that constantly being in touch or nearby strengthens the bond. True, showing interest and staying connected is crucial, but overloading him with attention might just backfire. Here's the thing, guys are hardwired to cherish independence and love the chase. If you're always there, you kind of rob him of the chance to truly feel that pull towards you. Imagine this, you're always the one texting first, always arranging the hangouts and filling every communication gap. At first, it might seem sweet and caring, but eventually, he might start to take you for granted. Why? Because when you're always around, things get too familiar, and that cozy feeling can sometimes dull the spark. You saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Well, let's add some layers to that. Giving a little space isn't just about missing you. It fires up his curiosity and rekindles his appreciation for you. Let's be real, giving him space isn't some hard-to-get scheme. It's about getting the rhythm of relationships. So how do you actually do this? First, focus on your own life. Creating space naturally happens when you're diving into stuff that excites and fulfills you. Go for your passions, chill with friends, or explore something new. When you're truly involved in your own world, you won't be as available, not because you're playing games, but because you're prioritizing what's important to you. Guys find women super attractive when they have their own vibrant world. It screams independence and ambition, making you even more appealing. When he sees you're living your life to the fullest without hanging on his every word, it sparks admiration and perhaps a bit of wonder. Second, resist the urge to over-communicate. Totally understand, especially when the connection's new and you're buzzing. But pause before hitting send every time something pops up. Ask yourself if this chat adds value or merely fills silence. Silence can be powerful. By not always reaching out first, you let him acknowledge your absence, creating a longing, whether he realizes it or not. Third, be thoughtful about your availability. Doesn't mean ignore his calls or fake busy, but be aware of how you spend your time. If he drops a last-minute invite, don't rearrange everything for him. Let him see you have your own schedule and plans. This says without words that while you do cherish spending time with him, your own time is valuable too, making moments together even more meaningful. Now, quick detour into some Dark Stoic Psychology. Stoicism reminds us to control what we can and let go of what we can't. By giving him space, you're focusing on your own energy and priorities instead of fixating on snagging his attention. This isn't only empowering for you, but it also boosts his respect for you. Here's where it gets interesting. Give him space and something quirky happens in his head. He starts wondering about you. What's she up to? How come she hasn't texted yet? That curiosity, that little tug of longing, it reignites his interest, drawing him back to you. Meanwhile, the space works in your favor too. It gives you clarity. Without constantly thinking about him, you've got room to reflect on your own feelings and check if the relationship meets your needs. Just to be clear, giving him space isn't about being cold or aloof. It's creating a dynamic where your presence is a privilege, not a given. When he sees your time and energy as valuable, he'll likely put more effort into the relationship. Here's a little story for you. Meet Lisa and Daniel. Lisa was all in, constantly texting and planning the next meetup before their current date ended. Initially, Daniel seemed into it, but then drifted with fewer texts and shorter replies. Frustrated, Lisa switched it up. She focused on her own stuff, finally took that yoga class she'd eyed, hung out more with friends, gave her all at work, and stopped being the one to always reach out. Suddenly, Daniel was the one texting first, wanting to know about her day, and making date plans. By stepping back, Lisa unknowingly made space for him to appreciate her presence more. This isn't some rare story. It plays out often because it taps into basic human psychology. So let me leave you with this thought. Are you giving him room to truly value you, or are you unintentionally smothering that spark by always being there? Reflect on this and remember, the next tip shows you how to really highlight your amazing independent life. Stick around because this is where things really start heating up. Step 4. Independence. The secret sauce to irresistibility. Let me ask you this. What's the first thing you think of when you hear the word independent? Do you picture someone who's got their life together? Someone who just exudes strength and ambition? totally not relying on anyone else for happiness. That's exactly what we're going for here. The truth is, independence is one of the most attractive traits you can have, and here's why. Men are naturally into women who have their own passions, goals, and identities outside of the relationship. When your life is full and rewarding, you become someone he admires, respects, and wants to be around. Not because he's the epicenter of your universe, but because he sees how incredible your world already is. But let's get something straight. Independence doesn't mean shoving him away or keeping him at arm's length. It's about balance, showing that while your connection matters, you don't need him to complete you. And that distinction, so powerful. Imagine this. You're out with your girls, just laughing and having a blast. He texts you, but you don't drop everything to reply right away. Why? You're genuinely savoring the moment you're in. That simple choice to prioritize your own joy shows him that you value your life, and it makes your presence even more desirable. Let's dive deeper into how you can flaunt your independence in ways that make him go crazy over you. First, dive into your passions without fear. What gets you fired up? Is it a career ambition, a fun hobby, or an adventure you can't stop dreaming about? Whatever it is, go after it. When he sees you chasing your dreams with passion and drive, he won't just admire you, he'll be inspired by you. Your independence becomes a magnet that pulls him in. Second, keep your social circle thriving. It's easy to get swept up in a new romance and let other relationships slide. But here's the thing. Men have mad respect for women who keep strong ties beyond them. When you make time for friends and family, you're showing him that your life is rich and full of love, not just for him, but for the people who count. Third, make decisions with confidence. Independence is as much about your mindset as your actions. Be decisive, whether it's picking dinner or planning your next big step. Show him you trust your own judgment. Men are drawn to women who know what they want and aren't afraid to go after it. Here's where a bit of Dark Stoic Psychology comes in. At its core, independence lines up perfectly with Stoicism. It's about knowing your worth and not letting outside influences control your happiness. When you embrace this mindset, you radiate a calm strength that's downright irresistible. Let me share a quick story. Emily was in this long-term relationship with Ryan, and honestly, things got a bit stale. She realized she'd been putting Ryan's needs before her own, losing touch with that vibrant, ambitious woman she used to be. So Emily shook things up. She joined a dance class she'd always wanted to try, reconnected with old friends, and dedicated time to her career goals. The change was huge, not just for her, but for Ryan too. He started noticing her new confidence, her happiness, and her renewed sense of purpose. It totally brought the spark back because he saw her as the amazing, independent woman he fell for at the start. Now, let's make this practical for you. Ask yourself, when was the last time you did something purely for yourself? Are you prioritizing your own growth and happiness or pausing them for someone else? Independence isn't just about what you do, it's the vibe you bring. When you show him that your world is already vibrant and flourishing, you're not just attracting him, you're inspiring him to step up and be part of something amazing. If this hits home for you, if you believe that independence is one of the most magnetic qualities a woman can have, then show me some love. Like this video and comment with a number 1 if you're ready to embrace your independent, high-value self. And don't forget to subscribe because this journey of personal growth and relationship mastery is just beginning, and I'm here to guide you the whole way. The next tip is going to be about setting boundaries that not only command respect, but also deepen attraction. Step 5. Teach him to respect you without saying a word. Let's chat about something that sets apart women who get the respect they deserve from those who feel overlooked or undervalued. Boundaries. Setting and sticking to boundaries is seriously one of the most empowering and attractive things you can bring into any relationship. Why? Because it shows you've got self-respect, confidence, and emotional maturity, all the stuff high-value guys find hard to resist. Think about it. If you let someone treat you however without saying a word, what message are you giving? It basically tells them that your feelings, needs, and standards are kind of up for negotiation. And sure, being kind and flexible is great, but boundaries make sure you're getting the respect and care you deserve. Now, boundaries don't mean being all rigid or standoffish. They're about knowing your worth and not settling for less. They're about creating an environment where mutual respect can grow. And here's the deal. Guys are naturally drawn to women who enforce boundaries because it shows you value yourself enough to demand what you need. But how do you set boundaries that feel natural and confident? Let's break it down. First, know what really matters to you. Before you can enforce boundaries, you need to know what they are. What behaviors or situations make you uncomfortable? What are your relationship non-negotiables? Whether it's about how you want to be treated or setting limits on your time and energy, take time to define what's okay for you. Remember, boundaries aren't about controlling others, they're about protecting your peace. Second, speak up about your boundaries early. The sooner you lay them down, the easier it is to stick to them. By being upfront about your expectations, you dodge misunderstandings later. Say if last-minute plans or constant texting aren't your thing, let him know in a calm and respectful manner. You could say something like, I really value my time in planning ahead, so I'd appreciate knowing plans at least a day in advance. It's simple, direct, and clear. Third, hold your boundaries with confidence. This is where many people slip up. Setting boundaries is one thing, sticking to them is another. If he crosses a line, don't just brush it off or make excuses. Address it calmly but firmly. For instance, if he dismisses your feelings, you might say, I don't feel respected when my concerns are brushed off. We need to communicate openly. It's not about being confrontational, it's about standing your ground with grace. Now, here's the kicker. Guys often test boundaries, sometimes without even realizing it. They might push a little to see what they can get away with. It's just human nature. But how you respond is everything. When you hold firm, you earn respect, and he sees you're not afraid to walk away from anything that doesn't serve you, which makes you even more appealing. Think of boundaries as the foundation of your self-worth. They protect your energy and make sure you're building a balanced and respectful relationship. Without them, you risk losing yourself in the relationship, sacrificing your needs to keep the peace. And let's be real, peace that costs your happiness isn't peace at all. Linking this to Stoicism, one key principle is controlling what you can influence, your reactions, emotions, and choices. Boundaries fit this perfectly. By setting clear limits, you take charge of how you let others treat you, rather than just accepting things that don't align with your values. This embodies Dark Stoic Psychology, using self-awareness and discipline to foster a life where respect and connection flourish. Here's a real-life example. Sophia was dating someone who often canceled plans at the last minute. At first, she let it go, thinking it wasn't a big deal, but over time, it bugged her. She started feeling disrespected. One day, after yet another last-minute cancellation, she addressed it head-on. I get that things come up, but I need to feel like my time matters. If this keeps happening, maybe we're not on the same page. Her firmness didn't push him away. It pulled him closer. Why? Because she wasn't angry or delivering ultimatums. She just clearly stated her needs, showing she'd walk away if they weren't met. The relationship grew because it was rooted in respect. So let me ask you, are you setting boundaries that reflect your worth, or are you letting things slide, hoping he'll change on his own? Remember, boundaries aren't just about what you tolerate. They're about teaching others how to truly value and cherish you. Mastering boundaries doesn't just drive him crazy for you, it builds a relationship dynamic where real respect, attraction, and love can grow. And that's a power nobody can take away from you. Next, we'll dive into how to be his emotional safe haven, the woman he turns to not just for passion, but for peace. Step 6. Become the woman he turns to for peace. Picture this: a guy comes home after a long, exhausting day. The world feels heavy and his mind's filled with stress and doubts. What if I told you what he needs most in that moment isn't just a romantic partner? It's peace, a refuge, a safe haven. The woman who can offer him that emotional sanctuary, she ends up being irreplaceable in his life. The truth is, many women overlook this. Men might not always show their emotions, but they feel them deeply. They're often taught to keep a tough facade, handle problems solo, and keep vulnerability under wraps. That's why being his emotional safe haven is such a powerful way to deepen his connection with you. So how do you step into this role without losing yourself? First, start by listening without judgment. Sounds simple, right? But it can be transformative. Whether he's talking about a work problem, a personal fear, or a mistake he made, resist the urge to jump in with advice. Instead, just listen and let him feel heard. No need to fix or analyze it. Sometimes listening is all it takes for him to feel supported. Let me ask you this. Have you ever opened up to someone only to feel like they just wanted to fix you? It's frustrating, right? Men feel the same way. When you create a space for him to speak freely, you become his go-to person for vulnerability. It's a rare and precious connection. Next, validate his emotions. You don't need to agree with everything, but acknowledge his feelings. If he's upset, saying, "I get why that would bug you," can show that his emotions matter to you. This simple affirmation builds trust and intimacy. Then be the calm in his chaos. Life can be a whirlwind, and relationships aren't always smooth sailing. In tough times, your calm presence becomes invaluable. Instead of reacting with frustration, try to be steady. When he sees you as a source of stability, he'll feel more drawn to you, not just as a partner, but as someone he can lean on when life gets rocky. Here's where Stoic psychology comes in. Stoicism teaches us to build emotional resilience and focus on what we can control. By embracing this mindset, you're helping him and boosting your emotional well-being. Staying grounded makes you this pillar of strength, which he'll never take for granted. Now, to keep it practical, being his emotional safe haven doesn't mean carrying all his burdens or sidelining your needs. It's about balancing support and self-care. If he's stressed, be there for him, but don't absorb his stress. Offer comfort and perspective, but stay aware of your own boundaries. If he's overwhelmed at work, you might say, "I see things are tough now, but I believe in you. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help." This shows your support without crossing limits. Here's a story to illustrate it. Maya and James had been dating for a few months when James faced hurdles at work. He felt frustrated and unsure about the future. Maya noticed him pulling away but didn't push. She just said, "I'm here whenever you're ready to talk." And when he finally did open up, Maya listened without interrupting, validated his feelings, and reassured him she believed in him. Her calm, supportive presence turned out to be a game changer for their relationship. James later said her patience and empathy made him feel really safe with her. This isn't about being his therapist or shouldering all his stress. It's about showing him that with you, he doesn't have to pretend to have it all together. You're his partner, not his fixer, and that's a crucial distinction. But here's the thing, being his emotional safe haven doesn't mean ignoring your own needs or accepting disrespect. It's about creating a space where you both can be open and grow together. When you strike this balance, you become his go-to for peace, not just passion. If this resonates, let me know. Like the video and drop a comment saying, number 1, if you think being his emotional safe haven is a relationship superpower. And subscribe to the channel if you're set to level up your love life. The next tip will show you how to add an unexpected spark of romance that'll keep him on his toes. Step 7. The thrill of the unexpected in love. What if I told you there's something super exciting about the unexpected? When a sweet, spontaneous moment catches you off guard, it just sticks with you longer. Don't you think so? It's those little surprises, those simple yet thoughtful gestures that make your heart race and leave such a lasting impression. And that same idea can do wonders when you want him to be head over heels for you. The truth is, men love a bit of excitement. They really get a kick out of the unpredictable, that spark of spontaneity that keeps things feeling fresh and alive. So when you mix in unexpected moments of romance, you're creating an emotional high. He's not going to forget anytime soon. Now, don't get me wrong, spontaneous romance isn't about grand, elaborate gestures, even though those can be pretty fun. It's more about the small, meaningful surprises that show him you're thinking of him in ways that truly matter. It's also about keeping the spark alive by shaking things up a bit from the everyday routine, reminding him why he was so drawn to you from the start. Let me ask you this. Imagine he's having a regular old day and suddenly you send him a sweet voice message, joking about a shared memory or telling him something you admire about him. Or picture this, you swing by with his go-to snack after he mentions how rough his day was. These aren't gigantic gestures, but those little moments show him you're really paying attention. Here's why it totally works. Guys are often creatures of habit. Their lives can feel like a routine: work, gym, home, rinse, and repeat. But when you add those bursts of spontaneity, you're the excitement in his life, the one who breaks up the monotony and reminds him that love isn't just routine. But how do you come up with these surprise moments without it feeling forced? Let's explore. First up, pay attention to the little details that light him up. Does he have a band he loves, a food he can't resist, or a place he always talks about visiting? Use those small things to create surprises that feel personal and thoughtful. For instance, if he's mentioned missing his mom's cooking, find a recipe for one of her dishes and make it for him. Simple little gesture, but it shows you're really listening and care enough to take action. Second, shake things up a bit. Do you always hit the same haunts or follow the same routines? Switch it up. Instead of the typical dinner in a movie, plan something totally different, like a nighttime picnic under fairy lights or a quick road trip to a nearby spot. He's never checked out. The key is to make memories that stand out because they're a break from the ordinary. Third, embrace the element of surprise. Sometimes it's those tiny, unplanned gestures that leave the biggest mark. Maybe it's leaving a handwritten note in his car letting him know how proud you are of him, or setting up a fun challenge for you both to try, like cooking a new dish or mastering a TikTok dance. These are lighthearted fun and show him that being with you is one big adventure. Now, here's where Dark Stoic Psychology comes in. Spontaneity keeps him intrigued and aligns with the Stoic principle of being present and intentional. It's all about finding joy in the moment and sharing that joy in unexpected ways. When you surprise him, you remind him that life and love aren't about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about creating those perfect moments together. Picture this story. Samantha and Ethan had been together for over a year, and while their relationship was strong, it was feeling a bit routine. Samantha knew Ethan had been stressed at work. So one Friday, she told him to pack an overnight bag and kept the destination a secret. They drove to a charming little cabin she'd rented about an hour outside the city. She planned a cozy dinner by the fire, had his favorite playlist lined up for the drive, and organized a morning hike to a nearby lake. It wasn't extravagant or costly, but the thought and effort left Ethan speechless. He later admitted it was one of the best weekends of his life and reminded him why he fell for her in the first place. That's how surprise romance works, because it shows effort, creativity, and a willingness to step out of the ordinary and say, I see you, I care about you, and I want to make you happy. But here's a key point. Romance isn't a one-way street. It's not about wearing yourself out trying to impress him. It's about creating shared moments that you both enjoy. When you surprise him, you also infuse joy and excitement into your own life. And here's a final thought. Spontaneous romance doesn't always have to be planned out. Sometimes it's about just going with the flow when the moment feels right. Maybe it's dancing in the kitchen to a favorite tune or grabbing an impromptu selfie during a quiet walk. These tiny, spontaneous acts build intimacy in ways words never can. So take a moment to think, how can you surprise him in a way that feels true to you? What small gesture or unexpected plan could bring a smile to his face this week? When you become the source of joy and excitement in his life, you're not just making him crazy about you, you're creating a bond that's dynamic, vibrant, and unforgettable. Isn't that what love should feel like? The closing note, building love on real foundations. What if I told you you've just stumbled upon the 7 subtle yet powerful ways to make him go absolutely wild about you? We're talking mastering the art of mystery, showing that fierce independence of yours, being his emotional go-to, and keeping things spicy with some surprise romance. It's like you've got a whole map in your hands. But not just any map, one that doesn't rely on tricks or mind games. It's all about embracing your genuine power. Let's pause for a sec and think about it. Each of these steps dives way deeper than just that surface level attraction stuff. It's all about respect, balance, and having that real connection. By weaving these principles into your life, you're not just sparking chemistry, you're laying down the groundwork for a relationship that's vibrant, fulfilling, and deeply rooted in mutual respect and admiration. But here's the kicker. It's not just about him, it's about you. These moves, they're all about the bigger picture. Self-worth, self-growth, and resilience. You know, those solid foundations of Stoicism. And as you tap into these tools, you'll see they don't just shake up your relationships, they totally boost your confidence and give your life that sense of purpose. And here's the thing, when you embrace these qualities, magic happens. You stop chasing love and start drawing it in. You become that woman, the one who turns heads and leaves an unforgettable mark because you know your worth and you own it. So what's next? It's time to take these insights and put them into play. Start small, maybe throw in a dash of mystery or plan a spur-of-the-moment surprise. Watch how he reacts, but more importantly, pay attention to how you feel as you step into this fabulous, empowered version of yourself. Your voice is important, so let's hear it. What resonated with you? Which tip are you excited to try out first? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story might just inspire someone else on their journey. If this chat has lit a spark in you, be it an idea, a realization, or even a newfound confidence, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Together, we're forming a community of high-value women ready to embrace life and love with grace and authenticity. Thanks for hanging out with me on this journey. Here's to being the best version of you and creating love stories that are just as amazing and vibrant as you are. Stay confident, stay curious, and until next time, take care.